Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to Wade Myers Old Iron. You know, you guys just never cease to amaze me. I'm continually surprised at every turn. You know, that last video I made was the longest video I've ever put up. And I kept thinking, oh man, it's just too long. People are going to hate it. I try my best to keep them down to about 30, 31 minutes, and sometimes they're 20 minutes, and I'm okay with that. Whatever it takes to get the point across and make the point, make the topic, whatever it is. But I never make them any longer than they have to be. And usually I'm trimming the fat out of them to get them down to half an hour. And this last one I cut probably at least 15 minutes out of it just to get it down to 47 minutes. And I thought, oh, people are going to hate it. They're going to hate me. I'll lose subscribers. It had more views. That video's had more views than the previous 7. And there's probably only 2 videos out of the last 20 or 25 that's had more views than this one got. And another first was it had 99.9% likes at 10,000 views. That's the first time that's ever happened. So I just never know what you guys are going to like or dislike. And sometimes I think I've got, this is a really good video. And gets hardly any views and a bunch of dislikes. And so I never know. But anyway, I think it's had 400, at right now, it's had over 16,000 views and 426 comments. 426. Isn't that a nice number for some reason? Hemi maybe? Yeah, anyway, and I pride myself on the fact that I either answered or acknowledged all but 3 of those comments. I don't always have time to do that, or take the time to do that, I guess, because it takes a long time to answer. Sometimes there's 300 to 500 comments, and it takes a long time to sit down and answer every one of them when I could be making more content instead of sitting there. But sometimes I'll sit down and answer a few comments, and then I got a phone rings or something. I got to go do whatever, and then maybe in a day or 2 I'll sit down and answer a few more. But this last time I really tried to acknowledge every comment. There was 3 that I didn't answer or acknowledge. Sometimes I'll just put the little heart on there, but that lets you know, you'll get a notice that lets you know that I read your comment and that I acknowledged it. Out of the 426, like I said, there was 3. One of them I just didn't understand what the guy was saying. I didn't get it, and so I didn't know how to respond to it. The other 2 were people asked me some personal questions that I didn't feel like answering. But other than that, I answered all the comments or acknowledged all the comments. So that was pretty good. But the one thing that everybody seemed to enjoy was the ride-along. So in this episode coming up, what I've got going on is I finished up all the repairs on the Rockabilly. You know, it had been sitting for pretty much over a year. I think the only time I drove it last year was to take Mr. Heavy Chevy's son, the young man, in a little ride down the driveway, and I don't think I even drove it into town last year. I'm pretty sure I didn't. And it sat most of the time, and consequently, you know, that's when things go wrong. So in this episode, I got everything fixed up that was wrong with it. There was a couple of lights, front signal light issue, had to swap out a bulb. Nothing major, but that starter repair was the major thing. And well, in the last video, now in this video, we got that brake issue addressed. And it was, if you recall, it was when I hit the brakes, bam! It's just like putting your foot down on this concrete. It was just solid and no give, nothing. And a lot of the comments, most people suggested that it was probably a brake line that had deteriorated on the inside, and a little piece of rubber maybe was. One guy put it very well. Said acting as a check valve. You know, if it had a little piece flopping around in there, a piece of rubber. But to my way of thinking, I would think that if it was a brake hose, that it would just affect one wheel. But bam, this is solid. I don't think it would lock everything up if it was just one wheel. But we're going to get to that, and I wasn't fair to you guys because a lot of people suggested the booster. Well, there is no booster. It was not fair to ask you guys help without showing you the system and what it looked like and how I had it set up. So I apologize for that, but we got it straightened out this time. It had the back third brake light in the back is a glass light, a really nice one that came off an old school bus, probably something out of the 50s maybe, because it is glass and everything's plastic nowadays. But got that all working, got everything working, and went for another ride. And I hope you like it, because I took you on another little country road up in the mountains here, and it's just a nice drive. And this time maybe I'll lower the music and let the engine sing, as one commenter put it, because he said he'd rather hear that than music, and I think he's right. So at least in portions of that we'll tone it down. So I've talked way too much, so this video will be, however long I've talked, this video will be exactly that much too long. So, sorry guys, bear with me. Let's get into it. Hey, welcome to Rat Rodding. My name's Waylon Wire, and don't ever do what we do here on this channel. Well, I see I've got to replace a bulb on the other side there. That's okay. I got one. Those are pretty cool because at night you can see the light shining out the back end and tell if your signal light's on or if it's working or whatever. So I'll get me a bulb and swap that out before we leave. Well, it looks like I need a tack there as well. I can do that. One thing I wanted to do, I've almost forgot, but before I take this thing out, I wanted to change out that fuel filter. That looks pretty gross. As I said, that's the original tank, and what I did was I did a Pour 15. They make a kit for gas tanks, and boy, it worked out really nice. You put this stuff in there and shake it all around, and it etches it, and then it's got a white coating, and you put that in there and roll it all around until it's all covered and let that dry good. It makes a nice coating, so you can look in there and see if there's any trash in it. And I had to pick the trash out of it. Well, it wasn't trash, it was silicone. I got a little too rambunctious when I was putting the float in, and fastening that down on the top, and got a little too much silicone, and little pieces were dropping off in there for a while, and it would plug up and cause me trouble. I finally got it all pretty much fished out, but this thing was built so you could do maintenance on it. You see this? You can shut the gas off while you're working on while you're swapping out the filter. Isn't that a wonderful thing? They just don't make stuff like that anymore. You know, you gotta see, what was it on my '02 Chevy? I had to replace the fuel pump one time, and I think it was, I had to take it to the shop because it was the middle of grafting season and I didn't have time to do it. So yeah, I took it to the shop. I think it was $1,100 it cost me to put a fuel pump, because they have to either whether they have to drop the tank or pull the bed or lift the bed. I think that's what they do to get to it. But anyway, it's just wrong. Whatever they have to do is wrong. It's wrong, man. It ought to be like this. I can kind of smell that gas. That gas is pretty old. I'm gonna mix some new gas in there with it. I'll get away with it. This old thing will burn anything, but it's been sitting too long. So yeah, I'm gonna swap that out, and then we'll go for a ride. Okay, let's dump some of that nasty old gas in the floor. I hope I got a filter the right size. I'm pretty sure I do. I should go look before I take this out, but I'm gonna live on the edge, man. I'm just gonna chance it. Went in, seen that doctor yesterday take stitches out of my thumb, and oh, she talked about that. She just kept going on and on and on about it. You know, well, you're gonna get, the skin's gonna be flaking back a little bit. It's gonna be sensitive. It takes about 4 months to heal. On and on. And do you need to see me again? I said, no, I don't need to see you again. I said, I've had, this is nothing, you know. I said, I ran over myself with a tractor one time, broke my leg, and I broke my arm in a motorcycle wreck, and snapped both bones, and I got metal. Snapped both these bones. I got metal down each side, and I set off the detectors in the airport sometimes, and you know, anyway, and had back surgery and had open heart surgery and a 5-way bypass. I said, this is nothing. This is like a little hangnail. I don't need to see you again. It'll be all right. I'll rub some dirt on it. Suck it up, Nancy. All right. I'm gonna see if I can make a mess here. I'll try not to have it go down my shirt, but it could. I can't grip with that thumb, that stinking thumb, man. Are you gonna come over there? Oh, come on. There we go. Boy, that's ugly. Not only ugly, but it looks to me like it was chainsaw gas. I think somebody ran out of gas and put chainsaw gas in it. That's what I think. That'd be good for it. I won't hurt anything. That's that ethanol. It's ate up that hose. It's all brittle, and I got some ethanol resistant hose. I ordered some. This is just a little short piece that goes to the line. I don't believe in running rubber hose the full length of a rig, but yeah, I'm gonna start putting non-ethanol gas in these things once I get the hoses replaced. I'm gonna cut the end of that one off for now, and just so I can take you guys for a ride. Hope I got enough left to reach. I think so. I think so. Yeah, I hate that ethanol gas, man. Nothing but trouble. Well, I'm gonna hard plumb everything I can. I'm gonna go through my Impala and make sure I've got that hard plumbed as far as I can. I might have to use a little piece of hose. Anyway, let's open this up and see what we got. Okay, open all the way. Don't see any leaks. Well, let's see, where can I put this? I can see what's going on. Hmm. No. There, perhaps, yeah. Well, of course, it's working fine now. Hey, you know, I had asked for a little bit of advice, and I don't often do that on YouTube because, well, I got good reason for that. But anyway, it was not fair of me to ask for the advice about this master cylinder without showing you how it's set up and how it works, because people were talking about, well, I was addressing the issue about the hard pedal. I mean, the first time you hit it, it's just like there's a rock under the pedal. It does not move, just don't go, frozen in the spot. And then the next time, it'll go fine. Some suggested that a brake hose was bad, and you know, from the inside, of course, this was all brand new hoses when I put them on, but that don't mean anything, you know. Yeah, that's anyway. They're talking about a hose. Well, if it was a hose, I mean that's good theory, because if it was deteriorating from the inside, it could get a little flap of rubber, as one guy said, act as a check valve, you know, and I can see that. That's good theory. But if that were the case, it would only be one wheel, and I would probably still have some pedal. I don't think just one hose would lock the whole system up. I could be wrong, but anyway, I put a camera on here. Of course, it wasn't doing it. I couldn't catch it in the act when I got it on the lift and started pushing on the brake and everything. But I had to put my camera on here and to see what was going on. It was kind of a two-man job, and I'm the only man, so I put the camera down here, and I could see that this is flexing a little bit. And what's happened is, after 13 years, you know, I said I always check my welds. Well, this weld is broken that holds this to the frame, because you can see somebody has hit it with a real big rock or something, hit it really hard. Now I've got a skid plate down here to protect all this and to protect this, and that's all fine, but this has been hit really hard enough to break it loose. So when I was watching the video back, I could see this thing flex when I push up on it. Now the angle, you can see that the angle, that plunger is angled up a little bit. Now that's, I think, the problem, because it's catching and not good. It's not plunging. The plunger is not plunging. But if I had this up where it's used to be, where it's supposed to be, for last 13 years, never had any problem. If I put it back up there where it belongs, then this angle will be correct going into the master cylinder. And I'm going to get a bar and put it over the tranny mount here and get under there and lift this up and weld that back in place. I might heat this up and straighten that out as well. But I'm thinking if I get this at the right angle, you can see how that's just not right. That's it comes here and it dips down, and it should not do that. It should be going straight in. So I'm going to lift the back end up and weld it in place And then I'll show you the rest of the mechanism, how it works up in the cab. It's pretty trick. It really is. It worked out wonderful. And like I said, it's been working great until just this spring. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to make those adjustments, and then I'll get back with you. Okay, I've got this kind of back where it's supposed to be. I got that hot with the rosebud, and then I started tapping on it until I got her kind of back there where it goes. Now I've got this, when I pull that up, I'm gonna have to, I can't get it over this way. It'd be delightful if I could, but I can't. So I need to pry that up enough to get that angle straightened out. And I'm not sure how I'm gonna do that yet. If I could drive that in, it might pick it up, I don't know. Is that doing anything, guys? Well, it's slipping right back out, but yeah, it is. If I could get it to stay. That's okay. Now I can, as our picture says, I can prize on it. I'm gonna flip that over if I can. Yeah, I'll be able to prize on it. Yeah, I can pry that up there and get her back about where it's supposed to go and hit it with a welder. I'm gonna force something in there to bring her up just a little bit more. Maybe that hammerhead will do it. I found out what hammers are for. And not for hitting your thumb. Ah, come on, get in there. There we go. There we go. I kind of like that. Kind of like that. Okay, I'm gonna weld this up and get back with you. GoPro, stop recording. Well, it's a pretty wide gap, and I had to send a lot of wire in there to fill it, but I got her pretty good, I think. The pressure's going off right by the camera. That's nice, ain't it? Okay, I got that welded up, all up and down, well, up this seam here. It's not real pretty, but it filled the gap. I put a lot of wire in there, and what it did was, it's at the right angle now with that plunger, and there's no more movement. That is solid right there. That's as hard as Brown's head. So I think that's going to do it. I'll give it a try. If it don't, I'll swap out the master cylinder because I may have done some damage with that plunger being at a bad angle all this time. I don't know. Well, not all this time, but since I hit that rock or whatever it was. It keeps coming off. Feller has to maintain his equipment. Down there, put a squeeze on it. All right. Good to go. This thing had, might be able to show you better on the inside. At least let me get some light on it, because it's kind of interesting how this worked out, boy. I mean, so down in there, there's a shaft that comes off of the bell housing, but unlike like say a small block Chevy, well, like this old truck over here, that will have a lever, clutch lever, that goes from the bell housing over to the frame, a little ball on the end of it, and that little lever housing fits on that ball, and it pivots so the clutch goes back and forth like that. Okay. This one doesn't have that. It just stops right there, and it's got that big old hairpin on it down there. So I got that all set up, and you can see down there where it works the clutch lever. That's the throwout bearing lever down there with that hole in it. In the end, it goes into that lever there. So that's the brake. You see the brake and the clutch is on the same shaft. And here's your clutch. You can't see, but anyway, yeah. So I had to get that engineering just right and get that curl, and I had to cut it in half and change it 2 or 3 times, and I welded it back, and I got that angle so that it pushes that plunger straight in to the master cylinder, because you can't have it going in crooked. But if the master cylinder gets switched, you know, swapped around a little bit and moved and at a different angle, I can see how that that plunger would bind up. And I think that's what's been going on. Once you drive it a little bit, it quits, but then it happens again, you know. And so I straightened that out. I'm at the proper angle now for that plunger to go straight into the master cylinder. Now I'm gonna let it down and show you the rest of this this Archie engineering here. Okay, you see there's no issue with the clutch. And that might, when I was talking about them outside, I may have switched them up in my brain. I might have said one and meant the other. But, and now here's the brake, and you can see that lever down there working, and it's working fine. It's working so good that I took the heels off my boots and made pads for my clutch and my brake. But you see that setup down there on that those 2 levers coming off the bell housing that works the brake and the clutch. That was all fine. So what did I do? I put a hanging mechanism in there so my pedals hang, and I ran some rods down to those levers. And man, that just works slicker than snot on a brass doorknob, I'm telling you. And you can see the foot throttle way up there. But yeah, I kind of think my brakes will work now, but if they don't, I'll swap out that master cylinder because there may have been some damage done. All right, yeah. Anyway, another suggestion. Well, like I said earlier, it wasn't fair for me to ask for help when I didn't show you the mechanism, how it's all set up, because how are you going to help me if you didn't know about all of this? Because most people said, well, you got a bad boosters crack or something, you know, or something. Well, now you can see what's going on. That wasn't fair to you guys, and oh, I just apologize, and I just hope you can forgive me. Anyhow, I think it's going to work now. So I'm going to get her down and find out, I reckon. Yeah, we'll just go for a little ride.